What's going on Beyond the Vision podcast? Here we are, another episode. This is episode 11, and I'm bringing to y'all my sister. This queen is out here doing God's work, so I'm so excited for what she's going to feed y'all, drop in y'all spirit, let it sizzle in there. I know her energy, her smile, just as soon as I met her, even though we wasn't close, but we was close in the spirit, and we remained connected and been able to truly support each other as we're out here doing God's work, doing our calling, and truly being obedient and walking in obedience, because vision starts in the spirit man first, because we're predestined, we're preordained. All we got to do is execute, y'all. All we got to do is say yes. Come on now, somebody out there give me that yes. So I'm excited to introduce her. She's just powerful. She has her own network, Princess Fornah Network. She's on all social media platforms, but we'll save all that for the end. I just want her to introduce herself. Princess, queen, thank you for joining the Beyond the Vision podcast. Sis, I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. Yes, please. Just a smile for me. Go ahead, tell the audience a little bit about you, girl.
Hello, everybody. First of all, sis, you are doing it, okay? Let's not even talk about me right now. I'm talking about you and everything that you got going on, okay? The mentoring, the counseling, the podcast. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I usually see on my status, on my newsfeed, is Miss Shirkydra over there empowering us. I'm like, look at my sister.
So come on, let's get up in Jesus. Come on now.
But yes, like she said, hello everybody. I'm just so honored and so excited to be on here. I'm Princess Fornah, aka Pastor P, aka Miss P. Whichever one you choose, I'll answer. I am the CEO of the Princess Fornah Network, a network that is transforming lives with the love and the word of God. Like she said, I'm on all social media platforms. I do an annual conference where I bring together people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, statuses, walks of life. We just had that this past April, which is the Made for More conference. Yes. Every Saturday mornings, I do what is called a Made for More show. And that's live on Facebook and right here on YouTube. If you look up Princess Fornah Network, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. I run that show as well. My network does charity around the world. The past few events we've had has been in third world countries in Africa, but we're definitely moving forward, looking towards branching off to other continents in the world as well. So I'm just so excited to be on here, Shirkydra. I'm so proud of you. Let's get right into it and let's bless these people today.
Let's bless these people. I want to start with, because a lot of people, you know, everybody comes with like, this is what I do, this is who I am. But I really want to take it back, because you got the vet in you too. People don't really, you know, they realize that you were in the military, and so many people are fear doing what you've done, which is leap out on faith and saying, you know what, I'm gonna go start and do me. And nobody see the challenges. They don't see the fear, the anxiety, like all these things. So I want to start with, you know, talking about your hope. Where did your hope come from? That faith come from? Did you always have this obedience in God? Like, how did you get to this place of saying, like, God, yes, I'm gonna do what you call me to do, and I'm gonna step out on faith, even though everybody in the military telling me I shouldn't do it?
Yes. Okay. First of all, I left that out in my intro, but I am a vet. I served for 6 honorable years in the Navy, and I'm not gonna sit here and say it was easy, sis. It was scary. Yeah. It was challenging. I had so many questions. I know what the public gets to see is just, oh man, she's walking in obedience. Man, she's so driven. But honestly, behind the scenes, like Jacob in the Bible, I wrestled with God. I was like, God, are you sure about this? I was like, oh my God, like this is scary. And when you're in the Navy, all you hear is, you know, stay in as long as you can, because the civilian world is difficult, it's hard, it's this, it's that. You know, a lot of the times that's all we hear. Yeah. So it was the transition was definitely scary. It was definitely a challenge. However, have I always had this faith and this obedience in God? No, I believe this faith and this obedience with which you guys see me walking with was actually cultivated in the military.
Wow.
Yes, to be very, very honest, it was cultivated in the military, because the first time I left home ever was when I joined the military. So the military took me away from my comfort zone, away from family, away from my loved ones. So a lot of the times whilst I was away and stationed in Japan or the Middle East or wherever it was, there were a lot of times where I felt, you know, lonely. and I felt afraid. So in those moments, I'm not very big on like, the club scene, the partying scene, like a lot of sailors did. So a lot of the times in those moments, I realized that I just kept turning to God. I just kept saying, God, I need you to help me. God, I need you to, strengthen me and empower me. So since I was a homebody a lot, in my season of serving in the military, I found myself just growing in God. And it wasn't like intentional, like I'm going to grow in God, but I just felt like I have nobody else to really turn to open to. I had my shipmates and, my chain of command, but I wasn't like on a personal level with all of them, because I'm like, okay, I'm here to serve, but then I have personal, lives and family and struggles that I was also dealing with, just like a lot of sailors that are in the service right now that don't really open up and talk to anybody about it. So for me, it was during the service where my faith actually grew. And there were so many things I kept taking to God in prayer, like, okay, God, I want to get my ESWAS. And next thing you know, it will manifest. I'm like, okay, God, I want to make rank, and then, it manifested. I'm like, dang, okay, God. And I would say it with all, sincerity, like, God, I'm really going to try you with this. And one after the other, I kept seeing them manifesting. So with those little things, God just showed me that if you would just put your hope and your trust and your belief in me, there is nothing that I can't do. There's nothing that I cannot grant you. So with testing him through those little things, when it was time for me to take the step to branch out of the Navy, to go into ministry, to start my own network, I'm like, wait, if his track record has proven to me that, when I ask, he answers. When I knock, he opens. When I seek, I find him. Then I don't think he's going to switch up on me now. So that's how that faith and that obedience was cultivated.
Wow. And I feel like, God saved me while I was in the military, in Japan, in a foreign land, in a land that's less than 3% Christianity. Let's be real with it. To take us to a foreign land and say, I call your name. And I didn't just call you, when he says many are called and few are chosen, like I didn't just call you, I chose you. I picked you. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you come from. I need you to go do this work. Come on. It doesn't matter. Sometimes some people look at what you're supposed to look like, what you're supposed to have, their credentials and everything. It's just like God's going to call you out of your wilderness sometimes. God's going to call you in your valley moment. Sometimes even at the mountaintop, God will call you and test your obedience and walking in faith. And I think that's truly like he showed you that if you ask for anything in my name, you know what I'm saying? As long as it's a part of his will, it's going to happen. It got to be a part of his will, though. A lot of people, we think like God is just magician, but it got to be a part of the will. And I don't think a lot of people pray for the manifestation, but they don't pray for the will. They pray for the yes. They don't pray for the will. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's crazy how, to watch you transition from military into the PFE. And I want to kind of scale that. How was that transition from I'm in the military to running a whole network? Like, what happened?
So actually, the network was birthed my last year of service in the military.
Wow.
So I didn't wait until I got out to birth it. So I knew I was, in the process of getting out of the military when God gave me the vision to go ahead and launch the network. And so in obedience, I just went ahead and did it. So whilst I was in, as much as, it was difficult having to serve, having to go to school and launch a network at the same time, I did what I could in that season. Now, a lot of us, we want to wait to start out with a big boom. Start small, start where you are, and that's why growth is so important, because as time goes on, you continue to self-develop, you continue to grow, and the vision continues to expand. It continues to enlarge, and it becomes, bigger than what the initial birthing was. Just like how babies, when you give birth to a child, they're not just this full-blown adult, they're a baby. But the more you nurture the child, the more you groom the child, the effort that you put into raising the child, that child grows up to manifest into whatever it is that God has created them to be. So it was that for me. I birthed the network my last year in the military, in the Navy. Like I said, it wasn't anything like where it is right now and where it's going to continue to grow to, but I started where I was. I started with the little that I have, the little time that I could put into it, the little resources that I could put into it, the little effort that my military schedule could afford me at that time. I utilized it, you know, as best as I could until after my discharge, I was able to give it, you know, the full force that I've been able to put into it now.
And I think it's so important that the audience, you know, you home in on giving 100% with what you have. So many people be like, well, I'm gonna wait till I can do this and wait till I have this and wait till I have the best mic and the best video and then I can invest in the best camera and the videographer. Like, you don't realize that God wants the product. He wants you to produce. He wants you to plant the seeds. He wants you to pour the water. He wants you to do with what you have. It's just like, how do you expect him to give you more when you won't just say yes to the little? You know what I'm saying? If we don't do it that way, it's almost like people want to wait to perfection, but if you wait to perfection, it'll never happen.
Yeah, if you're waiting to have the thousands of dollars before you start up that business, or if you're waiting to have all the right connections, you know, before you start up that vision that God has given to you, sometimes you're delaying the process. You're delaying your destiny. Not the process, but you're delaying your destiny. You know, so when God says start, just start. You know, just like how Jesus was walking around and he ran into Simon, Peter, and Andrew, you know, and James and John, the disciples. He said, hey, come and follow me. And what did they do? The Bible says immediately they dropped their nets and they followed. So when God gives you the instruction and you're certain that, hey, this is God telling me my time in service is up, or, you know, it's time to go back to school, or it's time to birth this business, just do it. Just do it. Be obedient.
So would you say that, like, and you know, I want to get your view on this, is how do you couple vision and faith? And I say because some people have a vision like business, and then, you know, we talk about ministry. Like, do they connect? Do they go hand in hand? Like, how does vision and faith go? How does it work for you?
So the Bible says that God is the one that gives us the ideas to make wealth. The vision comes with, you know, with your faith, with God, because somebody who has faith in God is in tune, right? I would like to assume or conclude that they have a personal relationship with God, right? Because I cannot just put my faith in just a random person or something that I don't know, or somebody that I do not know. Like with me being on your shoulder days, because I'm like, you know what? I've tried. I've seen Shirkydra. I've seen what she's doing. I've seen her works. I've seen, you know, her track record, and I'm trusting the fact that me coming on here is actually going to be a blessing to her followers and her viewers. So I have faith in the fact that today is not a waste of time. So it's the same thing, right? So with having faith in God, He gives us the visions. He gives us the business ideas. So for me, what have been able to work for me to be able to be so to thrive in the things that I do and be successful in the things that I do is that I don't separate my vision from my faith. I take my vision daily to God. I say, God, this is PFN. Bless it. Increase me. Expand my territory. And you can do the same thing with that business or that idea, whatever it is that you're running, whatever it is that you're doing. When you are able to bring it to God daily and say, okay, God, what's next for this vision? So I birthed the next network, and I go back to God and I say, okay, God, what's next? He said, do an annual conference. I'm like, cool. After the annual conference has been birthed, okay, God, what's next? You know, start a mentorship program. Okay, God, you know, I get that done. And then what's next? So the vision and the faith, it's important that, you know, we're intentional about keeping the two together. Because God, Bible says that He has a plan to bring us to an expected end, to a perfect end. He has plans of good and not evil for us. So that vision, as long as you keep it, you know, under the shadow of God's wing, as long as you keep it in tune, you know, with your faith in God, you will see how you'll be able to do extraordinary things with it and how it continues to just manifest. And you yourself will go, you know what? I know I'm putting in the effort, I know I'm putting in the work, but these harvest that I'm seeing has nothing to do with me.
Wow. Because it's all about Him. That's what people don't know. Like we show up, but it's all about Him being used, being a vessel. We constantly say being a vessel. And we don't realize that that takes that takes courage, like getting in front. People ask me, as a Me Too advocate, like, how do you get in front and tell your story? Because eventually you get to a point where it's not about me anymore. My pain wasn't about me anymore. He allowed something that he knew I can endure and that I can overcome because of where I was going. So many people get God confused and humanize him in a sense where they feel like I'm going to go through because of something I did. No, sometimes we go through for what we're about to go through, what we're about to head into, and what we have to do in this world. We so busy and we want to be like, our parents like, oh, we get in trouble, we got a whipping, or we got our phones taken away, or we got put in the corner, we couldn't go outside, or I couldn't go to the football games when I got in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And I've said this on many podcasts because people feel that every time we do something wrong or we feel that God don't like or something, we feel like, okay, he gonna take some away from me. My blessing gonna stop, my destiny gonna stop, so I'm just gonna stop ahead of time instead of pressing through and praying for that grace, mercy, repent of our ways, and move forward and move past and continue marching on to what it is that God has for us to do. But I think so many people feel like you don't realize that a lot of your struggles, a lot of your pain points, a lot of your experiences, God already knew you were the one that was gonna make it through it. So it's not about something you've already done. It's because he had to equip you and build up your strength and your armor for what you're headed into. And some of us wouldn't have made it through a lot of things if we didn't have the battles that came right before what we thought we wasn't going to make it through. You know what I mean?
For a fact. Besides the fact that my faith grew in the military, sis, my life journey has been nothing but a testament of the glory of God. When I say my family has been homeless, when I say I grew up without my mother, when I say I've gone through a civil war at a tender age where I've seen very traumatic things, like things that a young girl should never have seen at such a young age. But today, and doing the network and doing the things that I'm doing and speaking on different platforms and conferences and things like that, I'm able to draw back from those experiences. And it's all making sense to me now because I'm like, in those seasons, I'm just like, God, why me? Just like how many of us, when we're going through these things, we can't help but wonder, why am I so unlucky? Why is it always me? I remember in high school, it was time for prom. And I remember my friends just, being glorified by their mothers, taking shopping, getting their makeup done. And I remember at the age of 15, having to grind to be able to, get my own stuff for myself, for my own prom. And I remember just crying and saying, why can't I have it easy like my friends? But today, all those past experiences and the loss, having to sleep at the park during the wintertime, it has all helped to mold me into this diligent, this determined, this resilient and tenacious young lady that I am. So we don't understand that sometimes, and because of that, those stories now, God is using those stories to empower other young women, to empower women, period, young adults and other people. So whatever it is that you go through, that God permits, because some of these things, sometimes God permits them, just like how he permitted it with Job in the Bible. So because he has your comeback already set out for you. And that comeback is going to be beyond your imagination, to the point where you look back and everything that you may be going through and dealing with right now, where it'll all make sense. And that testimony will become somebody else's roadmap for them to be able to get to where God is trying to get them to, just like how he's doing with you and I am me.
Man, and it's crazy because I was talking to my sister, I'm getting my master's in clinical mental health, because I want to be a trauma therapist. I want to be a therapist for trauma victims, for people who, like, I want to become the person that I once needed, and my sister's going through social work, and we both had our Me Too experiences as children. And it's like back in the day, you grow up and be like, I'm going to be a WNBA. Like, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to the WNBA back in the day. Like, I'm going to play basketball, I'm going to college, and then, like, I'm out, I'm by my mom, a big, huge house. Like, that's it. That was my dream. And it's like college didn't happen. So that was a hit. And then it's like military, where did that come from? And then I start being around the wrong crowd and running from the police. Like, I just saw, like, who is this person that's being birthed? And I'm writing my third book now called Unmasked. And I'm really going through my life and showing how from the age of 5, I started wearing a mask. whether it was society, whether it was family. And we think that a mask is one piece, when really a mask is many pieces. Just because you heal from one area of your life don't mean you stop praying, you stop fasting, you stop seeking God. Because sometimes we've been masked so much, we've been put in so much darkness that when we heal one place, sometimes the enemy allows us to just sit in that place to not see nothing else. And we don't realize that we have to touch those other places that we haven't touched in a while, that may not cause us to sin or may not be on the surface, but it's in there. That anger's in there, that strife's in there, that jealousy's in there, that unforgiveness is in there. We got to go in there and search within. And so I'm really talking about how through life, from childhood to adulthood, we start to put on masks. And when you try to unmask that thing, it can be so strong. You got to take it off piece by piece by piece.
You gotta peel off each layer.
You gotta peel off each layer, because a lot of things we become who other people want us to be. We become who we think we want to be, but we're thinking through the lens of the person that we've masked. We're thinking of the lens of I don't want to be judged. We're thinking of the lens of religion. We're thinking of the lens instead of take that blunt, take the veil, take it off. Now, who do you want to be? Now, who did God call that person to be?
That's good. That's good. You know, I had my share of going through my self-identity crisis, because just like you said, there were so many external influences in my life, from society, from family, from culture, like you said, from religion and all that stuff that me and myself, I became confused about who Princess truly was. And so I now had to go back to the drawing board and become intentional, about self-discovery, finding out who I really am. And one thing that really helped me, again, was just going back to God, because he is the creator. He created me. So I remember just praying prayers like, God, I don't know who I am. Help me to see myself the way you see me. What have you created me to be? Who really is Princess? And, from that, I began to do, self-affirmations where I would stand in front of the mirror and began to decree things, that I felt in my spirit are what I am. So Princess, you are brave. Princess, you are strong, you're intelligent, you're a woman of influence. And I began to decree those affirmations and those declarations over my life daily. At first, when I started doing that on my journey to self-discovery, I didn't believe it. Because every time I would go to speak life and speak those things, over myself and into myself, I would hear once again these strange voices, these voices of influence, from the outside, from people, from family, from culture, from society, from the media, and all of that stuff. But I was intentional about truly peeling off each layer daily, letting go of the hurts, letting go of the betrayal, letting go of the losses, the L's that I've had to take in life, to come to the point of, okay, now we're getting started. Okay, you are a child of God. Okay, you're worth more, than what, you've been settling for, than the self-esteem issues that you've been dealing with and battling with, that what, you've been forced kind of, to be, to become, to accept, to settle for. Before I was now able to get to this Princess that y'all are seeing. And we never get to a place where we fully, have arrived, where we fully discover all that we are, because just like my show, Made for More, there's so much more, that is in us. There's so much more that we possess, that is so much more about us. So once you've been able to peel off certain layers, never settle. Keep searching deep, keep digging, because there's so much more on the inside of you that, with each different season, that more that is in you will begin to manifest. With each season, something different, a different aspect of the you will manifest.
And so I know, it's just so jewels, just when you sit in a good word, it sits in your spirit. So I'm getting fed. I don't know about y'all out there in the audience, but I'm just glad I got poured into today. But I want you to share with the audience, because I've had this encounter when you're building a brand, you're building a business, you trusting in God, but still building a business, we can't do it alone. Did you struggle with family support, friend support, like getting the support you needed to keep hope, to be like, okay, because we all need that validation, like, okay, God, I know I hear you, but I need you to validate this for me. You know what I mean? Like, how was it? What tips would you give when it comes to the support, either the lack thereof, or being able to press through and power through when the support just doesn't exist.
That's right. So with me, I got to experience both support and lack thereof. So I must admit that I was privileged and fortunate enough to get some great support from family. My dad, was a big source of support and encouragement to me through it all. He just always buys into, my visions and things that, I'm doing or producing or working on. And then my brother as well, was really big, a big support system in my life. So I had that. And I was privileged enough to have, a group of individuals that, God brought into my life that rose up and said, you know what, we will assist you, we will help you. So I had a friend and her boyfriend that rose up and said, we will work on your branding, with you. So we'll do the logo, we'll do just the imaging aspect, so we'll be able to, bring the brand together. And then I had other friends that said, okay, we will handle the coordinating aspect of it for you. Somebody said, hey, I'm really knowledgeable on YouTube. I'll be your, I'm going to be your YouTube manager. I'll do the research for you, help you create the page. Yeah, so that's why when the vision is given to you by God, because He gives the vision, He makes the provision.
There you go. Come on.
Because He gives the vision, He makes the provision. So He just kept bringing helpers. People that I didn't expect kept rising up to say, you know what, we want to be a part of what it is that God is getting ready to do with you. Let us help. Now, the helpers that I thought, the support system that I thought were going to stand with me didn't. Besides my family, the support system that I thought was going to stand with me did not. The mentors that I thought were going to speak life into the project that I'm working on, into PFN, a lot of them, when I reached out to them to let them know, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. May I get an endorsement from you? May I just get a word of encouragement from you? What do you think? I didn't get it from them. And I was so hurt. And some of them even rose up and started speaking ill about me. Like, who does she think she is? Why does she think, she can just up and start a network? The network is not going to go anywhere. It's just a phase. We give her 6 months and everything is going to crumble. And these things kept coming back to me. And these are people that I had in high esteem, people that I looked up to, that, man, I'm trying to get to where they are. Yeah. But they're the same people that spoke down to me. So if you are that individual and you're listening to this podcast, or you're watching this on YouTube, and the people that you think or you thought will be there to aid, the birthing of your vision or your business, if they're not there for you, understand that for me, what I came to understand later on is that sometimes when God does not want to share His glory with anybody, who will cause things like that to happen. Because looking back at it today, had some of those individuals really step up to be there for me, today they'll be saying, without us, she will not be. If I hadn't given her that endorsement, PFN would not be birthed today. Who does she think she is? They would have had, God would now have to share the glory with them. But today I can stand boldly and say, you know what? It's been God the entire time. God brought the helpers that He wanted, because He knew that the right helpers will understand that it is an honor and a privilege for them to be able to connect with what God is doing through me, what God is doing through the vision, let me put it like that, that God has given me. He knows that the individuals, that the helpers that He would bring into my life, that they will stand with me, not just for a season, not just when things are good, when the network is thriving, but in the low moments that I will have along the path, And so I'm so grateful for the PFN team, because when I'm down, these individuals, they speak life into me. So don't stay stuck on the people that didn't help. Don't stay stuck on the people that have refused to give the hand or to point you to the right direction. Don't stay stuck on the individuals that you expected to step up to guide you through what it is that you're trying to accomplish, because they've already walked that path. No, just be diligent in the vision. Give it your all and pray. I don't know what else to say, but this is what has worked for me. Prayer has always worked for me. And it's not no intense, I'm speaking in tongues kind of prayer. It's just genuine conversations with God, with me, to a point where I have to become naked, not physically naked, but just honest and open with God. Like, God, I need help. God, I'm hurting. You know, the people that I expect to be there are not there. I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. And sis, I lie to you not. God has bring strange people, strange individuals, strangers, outsiders to help. And I'm just so grateful for, you know, the individuals that God has brought into my life today, like my church family now. They've just, my apostle, his first lady, God has just been able to use them to nurture the PFN vision that God has given to me. And so sometimes you will be amazed that where the help will come from will be the least place where you would expect it to come from. But the help will not come if you're still stuck on wanting to force or wanting to make certain individuals be the helpers for you, because some of them, they might just not be it, and you're going to stay hurt and you're going to be disappointed. So for me, I just help you to understand that, you know what, if God has given me the vision, he's going to make the provision. And I have a mindset and an attitude that says, you know what, I would love to do it with these people, but it'll still be done without them.
There you go. And you got to be okay with that and allow that to settle in your spirit. Because I tell people all the time, if you think your best friends and your sisters in Christ, like everybody's not going to show up the way you want them to. And you got to be okay with that. And I learned that in my building phase. Like God really, when he gave me the vision and showed me everything, I had to be okay with, you know, learning how to trust strangers, learning how to trust new people. Because I'm like, if people close to me don't love me and ride for me, how I expect you to do the thing? Because that's how we think. And God will show up and show you something different. And I've gotten more support, to be honest. But I remember talking to a couple of young ladies and young men. I talked to a lot of the youth about, you know, when they lack their father's presence or their mother's presence. And I'm like, God realized that some people couldn't be in your life, so they didn't take his credit. A lot of us spend so time, we have that unforgiveness and we don't want to know, like, why you wasn't there and you wasn't this and you wasn't there. If God wanted them there, they would have been. And it's so many, even though it builds so much hurt, because we deal with abandonment issues, we deal with rejection, we deal with depression, we deal with so many things when we feel like somebody didn't choose us, somebody didn't pick us, somebody wasn't there for me. I had to struggle. I had to fight. You didn't save me. You didn't love me. You go through all this. But then God had to tell me, but didn't I say, well, your mother or your father forsake you, there I will be. There I would be. So I didn't lack anything. I didn't lack protection. I was protected. Just because you go through something don't mean you're not protected. Just because you go through and you face a challenge and you fall and you bust your head and we get back up and we fall again. One of my biggest mentors, Ruth Pankey, Elder Ruth, one of the things that always stick with me, she said, this life is like a roller coaster. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, but you just got to keep going. And when I run into people and they be like, well, what if I'm this? And what if I do this? I'll be like, just keep living. That's all I don't know what your tomorrow looks like. Keep living. I don't care if he'll deliver. Keep living. All I need you to do is keep living and pressing forward in God and do what it is that he needs you to do while you're here. Because that's what we're here for, to do the work, to operate in the gift.
Listen, the destiny will never be aborted.
Yeah,
it might be delayed, but it will not be aborted. The vision, as long as it was given to you by God, it will not die. You may go through the valley seasons, you know, those low moments. And you may have those seasons of you going through, you know, the valleys and the shadows of death seasons. You may go through them, but understand that a time will come where it will all make sense and it'll all manifest. So just keep pushing. When it gets hard, don't throw in the towel. You know, when you're going through the letdown, when you're going through the betrayal, when they're walking out on you, when they're talking about you, when they're gossiping about you, when they're looking down on you, when some of them write you off, it's okay. You keep going. You keep pressing, because understand that more that is in you, because remember I said you're made for more. So that more that is in you is just waiting for the perfect time to manifest. But the only way it's going to manifest is if you don't throw in the towel. It's if you don't quit, because as long as there is life, there is hope. No matter what you've gone through, I've gone through what you call it, sexual assault. I've gone through, like I said, homelessness. I've gone through, you know, growing up without my mother. I've gone through all of that, having to go through a civil war where I saw people being burnt to life, like burnt alive and dying in front of me and walking on dead bodies. I've gone through different challenges. But understand, if you're listening to us today, you're watching me and Lady Shirkydra, understand that as long as there's life, there's hope. What you've been through, it does not define you. It's not who you are. It's a chapter in your story. It's a season, you know, in your life. But just like how summer, winter, fall, and spring, just like how they pass, they change, you know, understand that this season, it will come to an end. This too will pass. And your moments and your season of glory, it will surely manifest. So don't give up. Just keep pressing. We all go through it. Like you said, it's a roller coaster, but you don't take off the straps when, you know, you go on the roller coaster. No, you keep those straps on, but you hold on for your dear life until the ride comes to an end. So hold on for your dear life. Keep riding. Keep pushing, because the ride will come to an end and you will get off on the other side.
On the others, come on the other side, talking about, Jesus, where my crown? Right? Can you give me my crown, please? Please, thank you for saving me from them people down there. Jesus, Lord, have mercy. Talking about, Jesus, I'm sorry. I know that one time, that one day, that just because I know I told you I wasn't speeding if you saved me out of that ticket, but you know, Jesus, you know, I know you made me this way. But since you dropped so many gems on us, I just thank you for blessing us. Like, you're truly walking in your calling. You're truly walking in your gift. I'm glad, like, I'm blessed to know you. And I know God's going to touch everything that you touch and bless it. And it's going to be more than just that tenfold. Everything you do, every sacrifice you made, it's not in vain. Every time he speaks to you and you say yes and yes and yes and amen, I'm telling you, the heavens sing and they're celebrating on your behalf, because they know that anything that he puts in front of you, that you're going to go to it and attack it in faith. And I'm just proud of you. I'm glad that we're connected in Christ. We have a sisterhood, and I love you. I want you to tell the audience, like, how do we support Princess Fornah Network? How do we support Made for More? How do they get connected with you? For those that are listening, if you're watching on YouTube, then all of her information is right there below for the website and then on social media under Princess Fornah. But I want you to spend this time on, how do they connect with you? How do they support what you're doing with all the work you're doing? I know that it costs. I know, is it donations? Like, how do we support what you're doing?
Yeah, so definitely it's donations. To make donations, they can go on my website. It's www.princessfornah.com. They can make donations via the website. But besides donations, you can still just connect with me and be blessed, by the messages of hope that God is bringing through the network, by the events that we do host. Come visit us, come in, join in on one of the events that we're doing, and just be able to see what the Lord is doing through us. So my website, you can connect with me on Facebook. On Facebook, it's Princess Fornah, just like you see it on the screen right now. On Instagram as well, it's Princess Fornah, it's one word. On YouTube, it's Princess Fornah Network. YouTube, I'm getting ready to launch a new series on YouTube, so I don't want to let the cat out the bag just yet, but it's the first platform I'm saying it on. So it's coming. I'm excited. It's in works. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay connected. I also am open to speaking. So if anybody listening, if you're hosting conferences or just any events that you feel like you would love for me to come and just share my testimony and my journey, you can also do your bookings via my website as well. I'm a very down-to-earth person, so if you're following me on Facebook, feel free to slide into my inbox. We can take it from there and chat from there. And yeah, so definitely email me. My email is fornahnetwork@gmail.com. fornahnetwork@gmail.com if you would just like to have one-on-one conversations with me, or any clarity on anything I may have said on the podcast today, feel free to do so.
Yes, thank you so much, sis. I know the audience got so much love, and people probably boo-hooing, tears, crying. I know the Holy Spirit is moving. It's going to continue to move because he's living. He's living in your words. He's living through you, in you, within you, around you. I love it. And I'm glad I got a dose of it today. Beyond the Vision podcast audience, y'all go follow this woman. Go follow this queen. Go follow this woman of God right now. Go do it right now. I'm excited to assist in any way. I'm glad we connect. I know we're going to do more things in the future. This is the first of many.
I was just going to say, I'm going to let this guy out the bag, though. I'm having Miss Shirkydra come on the PFN network. So y'all cannot miss that episode. We are really going to get into it, just like we've done on here. I'm excited to host you, sis. I can't wait. God willing, we're going to talk offline and coordinate it.
Oh,
but
yes.
she's going to be on PFN. So you guys be on the lookout for that. I cannot wait, sis. I love you. You inspire me too, okay? You definitely do. I watch you. I said, look at my sister thriving, you know, and it just inspires me to keep going as well. When I see other like-minded individuals doing great things, it motivates me. So keep pushing.
And that's what we do. It ain't about competition. People need to realize there's so many queens out there. We all wearing our crown, y'all. We got to start fighting against one another, competing against one another, and pat each other on the back, lift each other up, encourage one another, pray for one another. Sometimes you ain't even got to message somebody. Somebody ain't even got to know that you're praying for them. Just pray for us, y'all. So that's the best thing you can do for a person is pray for them, for real, for real. So I just pray, you know, we're just asking that God really does whatever it is on your heart, whatever's in your soul right now, whatever you've been battling with, whatever you've been facing, we just asking God to free you out of that thing. If it's in his will, it will be done. It's released. You just got to release it sometime. So I'm just praying, you know, everybody, for the audience, we just thank you for coming and joining us today. For those watching today, Lord, this was such a blessing, man. I love you, sis. I'm looking forward. I'm telling you, we going to keep connecting. I'm excited to come on your network. I know we're going to have a good time because I had a good time today. Y'all be blessed. Again, go follow her, Princess Fornah Network, Princess Fornah, everything. Just go figure it out, okay, y'all? Y'all hold it down and always understand where you are right now. It's only temporary. There's something always after the current vision. There's a vision and a destiny on your life. All God needs from you is a yes, y'all. So until the next episode, y'all, keep going beyond your vision, and we will see y'all next time.